The Instagram post went viral within hours. Zola's phone wouldn't stop buzzing, but she turned off notifications and was lying on the couch in Juntae's penthouse, their penthouse now, with his hand resting protectively on her small bump. "How are you feeling?" he asked for the third time that hour. "I'm fine," Zola said, smiling. "Pregnant women don't break, Juntae. You're not just any pregnant woman. You're carrying my child." His hand spread wider across her stomach, possessive and gentle. "That makes you the most valuable person in my world." The words should have felt like pressure. Instead, they felt like safety. Zola's phone rang, her mother, for the 5th time. She finally answered. Zola Kayamaka Okafor. Her mother's voice was sharp. "You're pregnant. And I have to find out from the internet." "Mom, I was going to tell you." "When?" "After the baby arrived." A pause, then softer. "Are you happy, NNE?" "Truly happy." Zola looked at Juntae, who was watching her with those intense eyes that saw everything. "Yes, Mama. I'm happier than I've been in years." "Then bring him to dinner. This weekend. Your father wants to meet the man who put that baby in you." Zola's eyes went wide. Juntae raised an eyebrow, clearly hearing every word. "Mom, he's very busy." "I'll be there," Juntae said loud enough for her mother to hear. "What time would you like us, Mrs. Okafor?" Her mother made a satisfied sound. 6 o'clock. "And tell him to bring his appetite. I'm making jollof rice." After she hung up, Zola stared at Juntae. "You just agreed to meet my Nigerian parents. Do you understand what that means?" "It means I'm meeting the people who made you." He pulled her closer. "Why would I say no to that?" "Because my father is going to interrogate you. My mother is going to judge everything. My aunties will probably show up." "Good," Juntae interrupted. "They should judge me. They should make sure I'm worthy of you." His hand cupped her face. "I want to do this right, Zola. All of it. Meeting your family, earning their respect, building a life with you that includes everyone you love." Zola's throat tightened. "You're really serious about this?" "I've never been more serious about anything." Welcome back, loves. We're in the final stretch of Zola's journey from broken wife to powerful mafia queen. If you haven't watched from the beginning, girl, what are you doing? Go watch episode 1 right now. The link is in the description, because this story is wild from start to finish. For my loyal viewers who've been here since the wine spill, subscribe if you haven't already, hit that like button, and comment your predictions for how this ends. Will Zola get her happily ever after, or will her past catch up to her? Let's find out. That night, Zola woke to find Juntae's side of the bed empty. She found him in his office, on the phone, speaking rapid Korean in a tone she'd never heard before, cold, lethal, absolute. When he saw her, his expression shifted immediately. "I'll handle it," he said into the phone, then hung up. "What's wrong?" Zola asked. Juntae hesitated, the first time she'd seen him uncertain about telling her something. "The truth," she reminded him. "You promised." He sighed. "Your ex-husband's investors are panicking. Some of them have connections to organizations I've had conflicts with in the past. They think you're a weakness they can exploit." Zola's hand went instinctively to her stomach. "What does that mean?" "It means security is being tripled. It means you don't go anywhere without Min Seo or one of my people. And it means," he moved to her, hands on her shoulders. "It means I need you to trust me to keep you safe." "Are we in danger?" Zola asked directly. "Is the baby in danger?" "Not while I'm breathing," Juntae said, and the absolute certainty in his voice was almost frightening. But I won't lie to you, there are people who would use you to get to me. People who see a pregnant woman as leverage. Fear curled in Zola's chest, but she pushed it down. What do we do? We stay smart. Stay careful. And we let them make the first mistake. His hands moved to her face. I've been protecting what's mine for 15 years, Zola. No one is going to touch you or our child. I promise you that. Saturday arrived too quickly. Juntae dressed carefully, not in his usual all-black power suits, but in dark slacks and a burgundy button-down that Zola had picked out. You look nervous, she said as they drove to Brooklyn. I'm about to meet the parents of the woman I'm building a life with. Of course I'm nervous. You've faced down rival gangs and federal investigations. Those were easier, Juntae said seriously. Those people only wanted my money or my freedom. Your parents want to know if I'm good enough for their daughter. The stakes are much higher. Zola's heart melted a little. Her parents' brownstone in Brooklyn was exactly as she remembered, warm, loud, filled with the smell of Nigerian food and the sound of Afrobeats playing softly. Her mother opened the door, took one look at Juntae, and said, "You're tall." Good. Zola needs tall children. Mom. Zola protested. But her mother was already ushering them inside, where Zola's father sat in his favorite chair, looking exactly like a man prepared to interrogate his daughter's baby daddy. Mr. Okafor, Juntae said, extending his hand. It's an honor to meet you, sir. Zola's father stood, he was shorter than Juntae but somehow seemed bigger, and shook his hand with a grip that was definitely a test. Han Juntae, her father said. I looked you up. Luxury car imports, they say. But the internet says other things too. Papa, Zola started. No, he should answer, her father interrupted. Are the other things true? Juntae didn't flinch. Yes, sir. I operate in areas that aren't always legal. I won't lie to you about that. But I will tell you this, I would die before I let anything happen to your daughter or our child. She is the most important thing in my life. The room was silent. Then Zola's mother said, he's honest. That's more than the last one. She pointed at Juntae. You. Come help me in the kitchen. Zola, stay here with your father. Juntae followed her mother without hesitation, leaving Zola alone with her father. You love him? Her father asked quietly. Zola thought about the question. About the way Juntae looked at her like she was precious. The way he'd held her when she cried about Hyuntae's lies. The way he'd promised to protect their child with his life. Yes, Papa. I do. Her father nodded slowly. Then I'll give him a chance. But if he hurts you, legal or illegal won't matter. I'll handle him myself. In the kitchen, Zola's mother was showing Juntae how to properly season the chicken. My daughter was married to a man who made her small, her mother said, not looking at him. For 5 years, I watched her shrink. Watched her smile become fake. You understand? Yes, ma'am, Juntae said quietly. Now she's pregnant, glowing, standing tall again. Her mother finally looked at him. You did that? She did that, Juntae corrected. She chose herself. I just made sure she had the space and safety to do it. Zola's mother studied him for a long moment. Then she smiled. You'll do. But if you make my daughter cry, I know people too. Don't test me. I wouldn't dream of it, Mrs. Okafor. Dinner was loud, warm, and exactly what Zola needed. Her father grilled Juntae about everything, his business, his intentions, his family, his plans for the baby. Juntae answered every question honestly, even the uncomfortable ones. By the end of the night, her father was showing Juntae his record collection, and her mother was packing up leftovers for the baby. In the car ride home, Juntae was quiet. "You okay?" Zola asked. "Your family is." He searched for words. "Everything I never had. Warm, loud, protective, real." He looked at her. "I want that for our child. That kind of love and safety." "You'll give them that," Zola said softly. "You already are." The attack happened 3 days later. Zola was leaving a client meeting in Midtown, Mincio walking beside her, when a black SUV jumped the curb. Everything happened in slow motion. Mincio shoving Zola backward, her body hitting the building wall. The SUV stopping. Doors opening. Men in masks. Mincio's gun appearing from nowhere, her body blocking Zola's. "Get back in the building!" Mincio shouted. "Now!" Zola ran, her heart pounding, her hand on her stomach. Behind her, she heard shouting, gunshots. She made it to the lobby, the security guard already on the phone, and collapsed against the wall, shaking. Her baby. They tried to take her baby. Juntae arrived in under 10 minutes, bursting through the lobby doors with 6 of his men. When he saw Zola, his face went white. "Are you hurt?" He was on his knees in front of her, hands running over her arms, her face, her stomach. "Did they touch you? Is the baby?" "I'm fine," Zola managed. "Mincio, is she?" "She's fine." She shot one of them, the others ran. His hands were shaking as they cupped her face. "You're sure you're okay?" "We're going to the hospital. Right now." At the hospital, the doctor confirmed the baby was fine, heartbeat strong, no distress. But Zola couldn't stop shaking. In the private room, Juntae sat beside her bed, holding her hand like he was afraid she'd disappear. "This is because of me," he said quietly. "Because you're with me." "This is because of them," Zola corrected. "Because they think I'm weak. That I'm just collateral." "You're not." "I know I'm not," Zola interrupted. "But they don't know that yet." She sat up, ignoring the doctor's instructions to rest. "I'm done hiding. Done being protected like I'm fragile. If they want to come after me because I'm with you, then they need to understand who they're dealing with." Juntae stared at her. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I'm not just the woman you're protecting. I'm your partner. You're equal." She gripped his hand. "So stop trying to shield me from your world and let me help you navigate it. I'm smart, I'm strategic, and I'm angry. Use that." Something shifted in Juntae's expression, surprise giving way to fierce pride. "You're incredible," he said. "Do you know that?" "I'm figuring it out," Zola said. "Now tell me, who tried to take me, and how do we make sure they never try again?" Quick pause. If you're loving this story, take 2 seconds to hit that like button and subscribe. It literally takes 2 seconds and it helps me keep bringing you these stories. Okay, back to the drama. Juntae's command center in Red Hook had been transformed into a war room. Maps, surveillance photos, financial records, everything spread across multiple screens. Zola sat at the conference table, 16 weeks pregnant and absolutely done with being sidelined. Juntae stood at the head of the table, with Mincio, Sunmi, and 3 of his senior associates. The attack was ordered by Chen Wei, Juntae said, pulling up a photo of a middle-aged Chinese man. "He's one of Hyuntae's major investors and has been trying to move into my port operations for 2 years. He thinks taking Zola gives him leverage. He thinks wrong, Mincio said flatly. She had a bandage on her arm from the attack but otherwise looked ready to go to war. What are his vulnerabilities? Zola asked, studying the financial records in front of her. Everyone looked at her. You want to be involved, you're involved, Juntae said. What are you thinking? Zola pointed to a series of transactions. He's moving money through luxury goods imports. High-end watches, jewelry, art. It's a common laundering method, but it requires maintaining relationships with legitimate auction houses and dealers. She looked up. I know those people. I've worked with half of them. If his reputation gets damaged in that world, his entire operation crumbles. Sunmi leaned forward. You're saying we attack his business reputation, not his physical operations? I'm saying we do both, Zola said. But the business reputation hits faster and cleaner. No violence, no federal attention, just a well-placed rumor that his goods are counterfeit or illegally obtained. The auction houses will freeze him out. His cash flow stops. Juntae was staring at her with an expression she couldn't quite read. What? She asked. You're brilliant, he said simply. Sunmi, can we execute this? Absolutely, Sunmi said, already typing. I have contacts at 3 major auction houses. If Zola can give us the right approach. I can, Zola interrupted. I'll make the calls myself. They know me, they'll listen. No, Juntae said immediately. You're not putting yourself in the line of. I'm making phone calls, not meeting them in dark alleys, Zola said. And this is exactly what I mean about being a partner. Let me use my skills. Juntae's jaw worked. Then he nodded. Fine. But you do it from here, with security, and you clear every conversation with me first. Deal. While Zola orchestrated Chen Wei's business collapse, Hyuntae made his own desperate move. He filed for an emergency injunction claiming Zola was mentally unstable and had been coerced into the pregnancy. He demanded a psychiatric evaluation and claimed Juntae had used undue influence to manipulate her. Margaret called with the news while Zola was on the phone destroying Chen Wei's reputation one auction house at a time. He's claiming you're not capable of making your own decisions, Margaret said. It's insulting and it won't hold up in court, but we need to respond. Let me respond, Zola said. Publicly. That evening, Zola posted a video on Instagram, sitting in the penthouse, visibly pregnant, looking directly at the camera. My name is Zola Okafor. Some of you knew me as Park Zola, the wife who stayed quiet while her husband controlled every aspect of her life. That woman is gone. She stood, hand on her belly. My ex-husband is claiming I'm mentally unstable because I left him and chose to build a life with someone who actually respects me. He's claiming I was coerced into this pregnancy, which is interesting, since he spent 5 years lying to me about my fertility to hide his own infertility. The camera stayed steady on her face. I am not unstable. I am not coerced. I am not confused. I am a successful businesswoman, a grown woman who made a choice, and I am happier now than I have been in a decade. She leaned closer to the camera. And to anyone who thinks a woman can't leave a bad situation and immediately find something better, watch me. She ended the video. It went viral in hours. The comments were overwhelmingly supportive. Even major media outlets picked it up. Zola Okafor fires back at ex-husband's claims. Pregnant consultant defends relationship with alleged crime boss. Woman exposes ex's infertility lies in viral video. Juntae watched the video 3 times. You didn't tell me you were going to do that, he said. Would you have tried to stop me? Probably. He pulled her into his arms. But I would have been wrong. You're taking control of your own narrative. It's perfect. I learned from the best, Zola said, kissing him. 3 weeks later, Chen Wei's operation had collapsed. The auction houses had frozen him out, his investors were panicking, and he'd been forced to liquidate assets at a massive loss. More importantly, he'd sent an intermediary to negotiate peace with Juntae, which included a promise to never touch Zola again. You destroyed a criminal empire with phone calls and professional reputation, Juntae said, looking at Zola with something like awe. Do you understand how rare that is? I understand that I'm good at my job, Zola said. She was 20 weeks now, her bump unmistakable, and she'd never felt more powerful. They were having dinner at the penthouse, a rare quiet night. I want to ask you something, Juntae said. Okay. He stood, moved to where she sat, and got down on one knee. Zola's breath stopped. I know we did this backward, Juntae said. I know we started with revenge and strategy. But Zola, somewhere in the middle of our plan, you became my everything. You're brilliant, fierce, beautiful, and you make me want to be better than I am. He pulled out a box. Inside was a ring that was somehow both elegant and bold, a large diamond surrounded by smaller emeralds. I want to marry you. Not for strategy, not for show, but because I can't imagine my life without you in it. Because I want our child to grow up seeing what real partnership looks like. Because I love you. Tears streamed down Zola's face. That's the first time you've said that, she whispered. I've been waiting for the right moment. And you thought while I'm pregnant and emotional was the right moment? I thought that when I couldn't wait another day was the right moment. He searched her face. Will you marry me, Zola? Yes, she said, laughing and crying. Yes, of course yes. He slid the ring on her finger and kissed her like she was oxygen. I love you too, Zola said against his lips. In case that wasn't clear. Say it again. I love you, Han Juntae. I love you, and I'm going to marry you, and we're going to build something incredible. We already are, he said, his hand on her belly where their baby was growing. They planned the wedding for when Zola was 7 months pregnant, before I'm too huge to walk down an aisle, she said, though Juntae insisted she was beautiful at any size. It wasn't going to be a traditional wedding. Zola wanted something that honored both her Nigerian heritage and Juntae's Korean background, something intimate but meaningful. We're doing this at my parents' house, Zola announced. In their backyard. Juntae, who could have rented out any venue in New York, simply said, whatever you want. Zola's mother immediately took over, coordinating with Juntae's aunt in Seoul, his only living family, to blend traditions. There would be a traditional Korean paebik ceremony and a Nigerian wine-carrying ceremony. This is going to be chaos, Zola said, watching her mother argue with the caterer about proper jollof rice seasoning. This is going to be family, Juntae corrected, watching with something like wonder. 1 week before the wedding, Hyuntae made his last desperate move. He showed up at Zola's parents' house, where she was staying the night before a dress fitting, with flowers and tears. Zola's father called her. There's a fool at my door claiming he needs to talk to you. Zola came downstairs to find Hyuntae on the porch, looking terrible. He'd lost weight, had dark circles under his eyes, and his usual polished appearance was gone. Zola, please, he said. Just 5 minutes. You have 3, she said, not stepping outside. I made mistakes. Huge mistakes. I was wrong to lie to you, wrong to humiliate you, wrong to treat you like you were the problem. He stepped closer. But we had 5 years together. That has to mean something. It does, Zola said. It means I learned what I don't want in a partner. He's a criminal, Zola. He's dangerous. He's honest, Zola interrupted. He sees me as an equal. He listens to me. He loves me. She put her hand on her belly. And he's giving me the family you spent 5 years lying about. That baby should have been ours, Hyuntae said desperately. No, Zola said firmly. It couldn't have been ours. Because you're infertile, remember? The thing you lied about for 5 years. She stepped back. I forgive you, Hyuntae. Not for you, but for me. I'm not carrying your damage into my new life. But I also never want to see you again. Move on. Get therapy. Find someone else to control. I'm done. She closed the door. Through the window, she watched him stand there for a long moment before finally walking away. Her father came up beside her. You handled that well, NNE. I learned from the best, Zola said, squeezing his hand. The backyard of the Okafor brownstone had been transformed. White and gold decorations mixed with traditional Korean and Nigerian elements. 2 ceremonies, 2 cultures, 1 love story. Zola wore a custom gown, white with gold Nigerian embroidery, elegant enough to accommodate her 7-month belly. Her natural hair was styled in an elaborate updo with gold accessories. She was beautiful. Radiant. Powerful. Juntae waited at the altar in a custom black suit with subtle Korean traditional elements, his eyes never leaving her as she walked down the aisle on her father's arm. The ceremony was bilingual, English, Korean, and Igbo mixing together. Juntae's aunt cried through the entire thing. Zola's mother couldn't stop smiling. When it came time for vows, Juntae spoke first. Zola, you crashed into my life covered in red wine and running from pain. You were supposed to be a strategy, a tool for revenge. Instead, you became my partner, my equal, my everything. He took her hands. I promise to protect you and our children with my life. To listen to you, respect you, and never make you feel less than you are. To build a life with you that's honest, powerful, and full of love. You made me believe in family again. I will spend my life making sure you never regret choosing me. Zola's vows came through tears. Juntae, you offered me protection when I needed it most. But more than that, you offered me respect, partnership, and the space to find myself again. You showed me what love looks like when it's real, honest, fierce, and unbreakable. She squeezed his hands. I promise to stand beside you, not behind you. To be your partner in everything. To build a family with you that's filled with the love and safety we both deserve. You replaced my husband, yes, but more than that, you replaced my fear with courage, my shame with pride, and my loneliness with love. I choose you, every day, for the rest of my life. There wasn't a dry eye in the backyard. They were pronounced husband and wife in 3 languages. Juntae kissed her like they were the only 2 people in the world. The reception was loud, joyful chaos. Nigerian music mixed with Korean ballads. Zola's aunties taught Juntae's associates how to dance. Her father and Juntae's aunt shared stories about their respective children. Min Seo got drunk and gave a toast about how Zola was the bravest woman I've ever protected, and the only one who ever shot down the boss's overprotective nonsense. Sunmi toasted to the woman who took down a criminal empire with nothing but phone calls and professional reputation. Margaret toasted to the most satisfying divorce case I've ever handled. When it was Zola's turn, she stood with Juntae's help, her hand on her belly. A year ago, I was trapped in a marriage that made me small. I believed I was broken, inadequate, not enough. She looked around at the faces, her family, Juntae's people, the chosen family they'd built together. Today, I'm standing here, married to a man who sees me as I am and loves me for it, carrying a child I was told I could never have, surrounded by people who celebrate my strength instead of fearing it. She turned to Juntae. You gave me permission to be powerful. Thank you for that. Thank you for everything. She raised her glass. To new beginnings, chosen family, and love that doesn't require you to be small. To love, everyone echoed. At 39 weeks, Zola's water broke at 3 a.m. Juntae, who'd been sleeping lightly for weeks in case this happened, was immediately alert. It's time, he asked. It's time, Zola confirmed. He'd planned for this moment with military precision. The bag was packed, the car was ready, the hospital had been prepped. What he hadn't planned for was how terrified he'd be. In the delivery room, holding Zola's hand as she breathed through contractions, Juntae looked more scared than she'd ever seen him. I've got this, Zola said during a break. You can let go of my hand if I'm hurting you. You're not, he lied. She was definitely crushing his hand. You faced down federal agents and rival gangs, Zola said. And you're scared of childbirth? I'm terrified of something happening to you, Juntae admitted. You and the baby are everything. If anything went wrong. Nothing's going wrong, Zola said firmly. We're both going to be fine. And in a few hours, you're going to meet your daughter. They'd found out the sex at the last ultrasound. A girl. Juntae had cried. The labor was long, 12 hours of Zola being stronger than Juntae knew a person could be. Her mother was there, coaching her in Igbo. Juntae refused to leave her side even when the doctor suggested he take a break. Finally, at 3:47 p.m., their daughter entered the world screaming. She's perfect, the doctor said, placing the baby on Zola's chest. Absolutely perfect. Zola looked down at the tiny face, brown skin, a shock of black hair, eyes squeezed shut, and felt her heart expand in ways she didn't know were possible. Hi, baby girl, she whispered. We've been waiting for you. Juntae was crying openly, his hand gentle on the baby's head. She's real. She's here. She's ours. What's her name? The nurse asked. Zola and Juntae had debated names for months, combining Korean and Nigerian options. Amara Ji-woo Han, Juntae said. Amara means grace in Igbo. Ji-woo means wisdom and rain in Korean. Grace and wisdom, Zola said, looking at her daughter. Perfect. 6 months later, the penthouse had been transformed. What was once minimalist and stark was now filled with baby gear, colorful toys, and the organized chaos of new parenthood. Zola sat in the nursery, nursing Amara and scrolling through her phone. Her consulting business had expanded. She now specialized in helping international businesses navigate cross-cultural markets, and her reputation had only grown since her very public love story. Juntae appeared in the doorway, home from a meeting. How are my girls? He asked. Your daughter just learned to grab her own feet, Zola said. It was very exciting. He sat beside them, kissing Zola's temple and running a gentle finger over Amara's chubby cheek. I got news today. Good or bad? Hyuntae's hedge fund officially collapsed. His investors pulled out after the SEC opened an investigation into the money laundering. Juntae paused. He's filing for bankruptcy. Zola waited to feel something, triumph, vindication, satisfaction. Instead, she felt nothing. Hyuntae was irrelevant to her life now. I hope he gets the help he needs, she said finally. And I hope he never does to someone else what he did to me. You're a better person than I am, Juntae said. No, I'm just happy. It's hard to stay angry when you're this happy. Amara finished nursing and immediately reached for Juntae with her tiny hands. He took her, holding her against his chest with the practiced ease of a man who'd fallen completely in love with fatherhood. "You know what I was thinking?" Zola said. "What?" "A year and a half ago, I spilled wine on a stranger and thought my life was over." She stood, wrapping her arms around both of them. "Turns out it was just beginning." Juntae kissed her, soft, loving, full of promise. "Best wine spill of my life." Amara babbled between them, and they both laughed. Later that night, after Amara was asleep and they were curled up on the couch, Juntae said, "I want to tell you something." "Okay." "I lied to you. Once. In the beginning." Zola tensed. "About what?" "I told you I'd been watching you for 2 years. That seeing Hyuntae humiliate you gave me an opportunity." He looked at her. "The truth is, I've been watching you for 3 years. Since the first time I saw you at a business conference, holding your own in a room full of men who were trying to dismiss you. I was fascinated." "So the wine spill wasn't an accident to you," Zola said slowly. "You were already interested." "I was already half in love with you," Juntae admitted. "I just didn't know it yet. When you crashed into me that night, it felt like fate handing me exactly what I'd been too afraid to reach for." Zola should have been angry about the omission. Instead, she smiled. "You know what? I'm okay with that. Because it means even when I thought I was at my lowest, someone was seeing my strength." "Always," Juntae said. "I've always seen exactly who you are, Zola. And I will spend the rest of my life making sure you see it too." "I love you," Zola said. "I love you more." "Impossible." They fell asleep on the couch, wrapped around each other, the baby monitor softly transmitting their daughter's peaceful breathing. A year and a half ago, Zola had been a woman running from humiliation, believing she was broken. Now she was a wife, a mother, a successful businesswoman, and a Mafia queen. She'd learned that sometimes the best revenge wasn't destruction. It was building something so beautiful that the past couldn't touch it. And she'd learned that love, real love, didn't make you small. It made you infinite. 2 years later, Zola stood in the backyard of the house they bought in Westchester, big enough for a growing family, close enough to the city for Juntae's work, safe enough for their children. Children, plural. Amara was 2.5 now, running around with Zola's father chasing her. And in Zola's arms, 3-month-old Elijah Dae-young slept peacefully. Juntae came up behind her, wrapping his arms around both of them. "Happy?" he asked. Zola looked at her family, her parents setting up for a barbecue, Juntae's and teaching Amara Korean words, Min-seo and Sunmi arguing good-naturedly about something, their chosen family all gathered together. She thought about the woman she'd been, small, scared, convinced she wasn't enough. And she thought about who she'd become, powerful, loved, whole. "Happier than I ever imagined possible," she said. "Good," Juntae said. "Because this is forever. You, me, our family. No more revenge, no more games. Just us, building a life worth living." "Forever," Zola agreed, kissing him while their children slept safe between them. And somewhere in New York City, in a luxury ballroom where a charity gala was happening, someone spilled red wine on someone else. But that was a different story. This one, the story of Zola and Juntae, of vengeance and love that conquered everything, was complete. I want to know, what was your biggest takeaway from Zola's journey? Drop it in the comments. Thank you for following Zola and Juntae's journey from that fateful wine spill to their happily ever after. This was a story about finding power in your lowest moment, choosing yourself, and discovering that real love doesn't diminish you, it elevates you. Now, smash that like button and subscribe for more stories like this. May we all find partnerships that make us stronger, families that celebrate us, and the courage to walk away from anything that makes us small.